Hello everyone and welcome to Rulebreaker. Today we're going to look at the core set cards for House Targaryen in Game of Thrones, the card game 2nd edition. Fire and Blood. Alright, so as usual we're going to look at these cards in their order numerically from the set. And starting with a big one, it's Daenerys Targaryen herself, who is pretty much the kind of pillar card for House Targaryen, at least in the core set. She is a 7-cost loyal Targaryen character with an intrigue and power icon. She's got 5 strength. She's unique. She's a lady and she has the Stormborn trait. And her ability is, while Daenerys Targaryen is standing, each character participating on an opponent's side in a challenge against you gets -1 strength. And she also has insight. So she's got a lot going on. Before we go into too much specific stuff on Dany herself, let's just talk a little bit about House Targaryen and what their kind of style of play is. So their speciality is killing characters by reducing their strength to 0. They've got a lot of cards that allow you to just do that. Lots of things that reduce strength by up to 4, even more. Bunch of plots that help with that, and they have some events and abilities that kill characters when their strength is 0. And there's a lot of good combos with a lot of those cards, many of which are outside of the core set, but there's actually still quite a bit of diversity and power towards doing that in the core cards themselves. One really important card for that strategy is coming up later on. It's an event. I'll give you a quick preview of it now. It's called Dracarys. Anybody who knows the context from the books and the show will be able to tell you that this is a pretty thematic thing where characters are going to be burned, quite literally, out of the game by having their strength totally ripped out. Daenerys herself contributes to making that really viable, just even with the core set cards. So let's talk about her strengths and weaknesses. Up front, insight's great. Insight is you get to draw a card if you win a challenge with that character. She's a lady, which is a really positive trait. There's a lot of nice neutral events and things like that you can combo with her for this. She reduces all opponents' strength while standing. Now, that's the key part of this, is the standing. So if you use her in a challenge, that ability no longer takes effect. So you really want to time your challenges with Dany, if at all, really. And there's some support cards that I'm going to show you now in a moment that will allow you to stand her quite regularly. Outside of the core set, there's one really important card that you would want. It's this one. It's Blood of the Dragon plot card. And you'll see here it says each non-dragon character gets -1 strength and is killed if its strength is 0. So while normally this would kill people straight away with 1 strength, which is a few characters, combined with Daenerys, you're actually going to be able to kill everybody on the board with 2 strength or lower. So this is a pretty clearly obvious, clear the board state kind of card that you can have control over if you've got that. A really devastating combo would be to use Dracarys, which I showed a moment ago, which I'm going to read out for you later on. I'll give you some more specifics on that. And there's another card that's not in the core set called Crown of Gold, which is pretty powerful as well. It takes a lot of strength off somebody to completely annihilate them. So you can, without Valor Morghulis or any of those board wipe kind of cards, you can target kill plenty of people just straight off with a bunch of very easy to get Targaryen combos. So aside from the burn side of Dany, she combos spectacularly well with her dragons. At the moment, the time of recording this, there are 3 dragons. They're hatchlings. They're hatchling versions of her 3 famous dragons. They are Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal. All of these are in the core set, and they all give Daenerys something. Now I'll talk about them specifically when we get to them in this section of the video, but just be aware that you've got all of these tools right out of the box, and you can, it's a very easy, very common combo to see those guys boost her up. Something else you're going to want with her is, obviously you want this -1 strength going a lot, but she's pretty good. You know, you want to be using her for challenges, so you're also going to want to be standing her. Aside from your usual standy stuff like Seal of the Hand, which is a neutral attachment, you've got some tools even in the core set to get her standing again. For example, her good friend Magister Illyrio, where it has the action pay 2 gold to choose a standard character. So that will enable you to use Daenerys, stand her by spending some gold with him. You can only do this once per phase, but it will allow you to keep this -1 going even inside the challenge that Daenerys is participating in. That's pretty nice. So there's a lot going on with Daenerys. She's a pretty good card. She's definitely a 5-star inclusion in a lot of Targaryen decks. There's enough diversity with Targaryen now that you may drop her for other high cost characters, and if you're going to use her, you generally are going to want to auto include this plot card and a few of the other burn cards, plus the hatchlings, which takes up a lot of slots in your deck. So that's a kind of a deck archetype that has been going since the game launched, and every now and again you see it, but some of the other Targ cards have kind of overtaken her. Saying that, she's still very, very flexible. The insight's nice to be able to get some more cards, and she's pretty powerful. So she's a top line card. And up next we have Drogon, who we mentioned a moment ago. He is a unique 3-cost character with a military icon. He's got 4 strength. He is a dragon and a hatchling. No attachments, and each Stormborn character you control gains renown. So we're just going to bring Daenerys straight back out here. So while Drogon is hanging around on the board with Daenerys, Daenerys also has renown. It says each Stormborn character, but to be honest, that's just this particular Daenerys Targaryen. She has the Stormborn trait. I haven't seen it on any other card, so I'm pretty sure they are using this trait in case they design a different Daenerys without having these effects applied to it. They want to have an overpowered cheaper or lock themselves into a design corner with that. So that's why that doesn't say Daenerys gains renown. It's to allow them the freedom, which is something they've learned from first edition, not to use specific character names with really, really powerful combos like this. But with the renown, she gets even better. Drogon's 4 strength is the highest of any of the hatchlings. 4 strength's pretty good, particularly for 3. The fact that he's only got the 1 icon is not too bad. The no attachments probably works out in his favour, so he's not disposed of with opponents' attachments. Yeah, he's alright. I think as the dragons go, he's probably not the best one, but I would definitely give him 3 stars. If you are playing him, you're only really playing him in a deck that has Daenerys, so you can't really rate this card on its own. If you were playing him on his own without Daenerys, you kind of really wouldn't really use him. There are better 3-cost military dudes in there, but this combination makes a lot of sense. So 3 stars, but a nice utility for our powerhouse pillar of the house, Daenerys. And next up is the other badass character in the core set. It's Khal Drogo. So he is a loyal and unique character, 6 cost. He has a military and power icon, 5 strength. He's a Dothraki and a lord. He has renown, and his ability, which is really, really good, is you may initiate an additional military challenge during the challenges phase. So an additional military challenge is awesome. He does stand, he does kneel when you use him in military challenges normally, but straight out of the box, you're also given Drogo's Arc, which is his weapon, which will essentially specifically meant to be for him. It even has his name in the text, going against what I just said about them learning their lesson for using specific names on cards. But it's also in the core box, but we're going to talk about it now rather than later because it's so specific to him. It is a 2-cost attachment. It's a weapon, and it says Dothraki character only. Attached character gets +2 strength. So on Drogo it would make him a 7. If attached character is Khal Drogo, and most of the time it will be, he does not kneel when declared as an attacker in the first military challenge you initiate each round. So if you attach this to this guy, you've got yourself a 7 strength military guy. He's military or power, but let's face it, he's military, right? He's going to be used in the first military challenge you do each round without kneeling, and then you can use him for a second military challenge, which you would have to kneel him for, or you could use him for a power challenge if you want, of course. But yeah, 2 military challenges with the same guy going for 7. It's pretty good. Yeah, and the renown, you're clocking up some power. He's also a lord, which means you can use Seal of the Hand on him, other things that apply to lords. Put 3 copies in your deck. He's a 5-star. He's a beast. Specific Dothraki decks work really nice, and you get a lot of those in the chapter packs. Not many in the core box. There's a couple more that I'll show you in a few minutes. But Dothraki decks are the other kind of main type of decks that you see with Targaryen now, and this particular combo is one of the main reasons for that. It's still pretty strong even now. Drogo also works quite nicely with this other attachment that we found later on in the packs called Warrior's Braid. It's really nice. It's yeah, so you might not think about it straight away looking at it, and it's got a picture of Daenerys, which kind of throws you off, but it gives him +1 strength for each bell token on Warrior's Braid, and you get a bell token whenever you win a military challenge with this character. So if he's doing 2 of these per round, he's getting a lot of bell tokens. He's getting a lot more strength. He could be a 9 after the first round you've played him with 2 challenges, then an 11, then a 13. You see where this is going. There's another attachment called Bloody Arc that also came out recently in one of the chapter packs, which means that you can sacrifice it to do an even further military challenge. So if you have that on this guy, he can do 3 military challenges in the one round if you can find a way to stand him, which would increase his strength really to ridiculous levels with that attachment. There's not a lot of other Dothraki in the box, but if you do like what you see with Khal Drogo, if you get in the chapter packs, I'll just show you very quickly the Blood Rider guys, Rakaro, Ago, and Jogo. These are his bros when it comes to riding the Dothraki Sea. Typically you will see a lot of decks, not so much now, but in first cycle, second cycle, there's a lot of Dothraki stuff going on, focusing on these 3 guys, and they're really fun to play. Lots and lots of military challenges, very hard to break down, flood the board with characters, really fun to play, and he is the pillar of that kind of deck archetype. He's really good. So as I said, 5 stars, Khal Drogo, and Drogo's Arc. We're going to give that 4 stars. It's a little expensive, but it's totally worth it if you've got Drogo. It's very expensive if you're not giving it to Drogo. And the other thing is, it is a unique attachment, so you can only have 1 of them. If it was non-unique, it would be way overpowered. But as it stands, it's a pretty solid card, but a really useful tool with Drogo himself. Next up is a card we mentioned already. It's Magister Illyrio. So he is a 5-cost unique character. He's non-loyal, so that's pretty important. He has a intrigue and power icon at 4 strength. He's a lord and a merchant. His action is pay 2 gold to choose and stand a character. Limit once per phase. So he's a really good card. He's expensive out of the gate, and you do need a lot of money to use him, but he can stand people like Daenerys, and get her -1 strength to opposing characters thing going again. You can use him with the guy we just spoke about, Khal Drogo, to get that additional military challenge in, or third one if you're using Bloody Arc. So he's very versatile. Another key feature of his is the fact that he is non-loyal. So if you are using a banner, so if you're using a different deck type and you're using the Targaryen banner, he's a pretty good choice. Get him in there. He can stand anybody, any character. He can stand Tywin, he can stand Cersei, he can stand Robert Baratheon, anybody, just for 2 gold. So really good card. He is expensive, but I still think he's totally a 5-star card and worth having, just because he enables all your best cards to go a second time, which is worth its weight in gold, just like he appears to be. Yeah, he's awesome. Give him a go. The next card is another one of the hatchlings. It's Rhaegal. So this is the second one from the pack so far. All 3 are in the core set. Rhaegal is unique, costs 3, has a military and intrigue icon, and 3 strength. So Rhaegal is a dragon and a hatchling, also with no attachments, just like Drogon. Reaction: after you win a challenge in which a participating Stormborn card you control is participating, choose and stand a Stormborn character. So that's a very convoluted way of saying after you win a challenge in which Daenerys is challenging or is participating, so she's knelt. If you win, you stand her again, which is exactly what she wants. She wants to be given -1 strength to enemy characters, and she wants to be doing challenges. Rhaegal enables that. This particular part of his card makes him significantly more useful than his buddy Drogon. If you look here, they have the same cost. He's got an extra icon. He's got the intrigue icon. He's a strength less, but extra icon is definitely worth more, and this ability is better. I mean, renown is for good for collecting power, but standing Daenerys enables you to get more power anyway. I mean, if you're able to pull off an additional challenge type with Dany, and she's already got 2 icons, you can go either way: power then intrigue, intrigue then power. You're probably looking to get maybe an unopposed power in there, so he's significantly better than Drogon. So if you're using Dany, you want 3 copies of Rhaegal, without a doubt. So with her, he's 5 stars. There's a lot of 5s in this bunch so far, but justifiably so. If you're not using Dany, that you don't use Rhaegal. Simple as that. Doesn't really do a lot for you. Again, there are more options for 3 cost, 3 strength, with multiple icons. So yeah, very context specific, but a really good card in combination with the boss. The next card is a fan favorite from the show anyway, and from the books, Sir Jorah Mormont. Jorah's a funny one. He's pretty cheap. He's 2 cost. He's unique. He's got 2 icons. He's got military and intrigue. He's also got 4 strength. He's a companion, which is a kind of a negative trait. There's a few cards that don't like companions. And knight. He's also got renown, but he has a downside. If Sir Jorah Mormont has 3 or more betrayal tokens on him, sacrifice him. So, he's limited use here. And because of his forced reaction, which is after you win a challenge in which Sir Jorah Mormont is participating, place a betrayal token on him. There is no way to remove these tokens that I know of, yet anyway. As soon as I post this video, they probably release a card that gets rid of these things, just to spite me. But Jorah is kind of used in 2 different situations. He's a good setup card because he doesn't take up a lot of cost. He gets out there, he's a body with 4 strength. The renown is there, but if you're getting him in early, he's probably going to die before that wins you the game. Or alternatively, he is a cheap, towards the end of the game, additional guy who you throw in there just to get the renown powers, to get to 15 power to win. So he's kind of flexible. He does have that downside. He's always got that ticking clock on his back. Every time you have him out there, you're like, oh, if I win 3, he's gone. So you can only really use him twice. And it doesn't matter if it's defending or attacking. I mean, if you want it to be attacking, maybe you want to win 2 challenges with them while attacking. With the Renown, you can get the power for defending, but using it more than once is risky, and he's likely to die. It doesn't matter if you have a duplicate on him. He'll still be sacrificed. So he's not the kind of card that you want 3 copies of. If you like him, I would only take 1 copy because of that negative. And frankly, he's not essential. He does have that flexibility, particularly early game. He can keep your other characters alive, but in a house that has so much control of killing characters, he's not that good, in my opinion. I've seen very differing opinions on him online, but for me, he's run-of-the-mill, kind of 3 stars. I love the character. I hope they do another version of him that gives him a bit more of a kick. But this one, it's not too bad, but again, the downside is there. So 3 stars. Next one. There's only 3 characters. Oh, there's a few characters left. Sorry. Viserion, the last of the hatchlings. So this guy's actually cheaper than the other 2. He costs 2 gold. Has a military and power icon at 2 strength, is unique just like the other 2, and also has the dragon and hatchling traits, no attachments, and each Stormborn character you control gains stealth. So much like his brothers, Viserion is kind of only really worth having around if you have Daenerys. Giving her stealth is nice. I really like the stealth keyword. It gives you a lot of sway on the board, just being able to ignore certain characters. So yeah, he's pretty good. I think he's better than Drogon, but not as good as Rhaegal. I give him a 4 star if you use him with Daenerys, and obviously same applies to the other 2. Just don't use him if you don't have her. So now that I've explained each of those, let's just go over exactly what Dany can do with all 3 of these guys alive. Now bear in mind, this is a lot of cards in your deck, and you're paying 7 for Dany, 2 for Viserion, 3 for Drogon, and 3 for Rhaegal. Okay, so what you get for your money is Daenerys would be Insight, Stealth, Renown. Other characters, opponent characters get -1. Actually, yeah, it's opponent characters get -1 when they're participating. And she will stand when she wins challenges. That's pretty good. I mean, these guys can be picked and choose to be killed off as chumps for her. Yeah, she becomes a bit of a beast with all 3 of these. I think Rhaegal is the best one. I think Viserion is a kind of a close second. I like stealth. So yeah, there you go. If you're using Dany, certainly use at least Viserion and Rhaegal, probably all 3 hatchlings, and she becomes a monster, just like them. The next character is Viserys Targaryen, the super jerk. So he's a cheapie. He costs 1 gold. He's loyal and unique. He has a power icon and 1 strength. He's a lord with the interrupt. When Viserys Targaryen leaves play, choose an attachment and discard from play. So the most obvious thing you would really use him for is claim soak. When someone attacks you for military challenge, kill him and get rid of an attachment you don't like. Most of the time that's probably going to be Milk of the Poppy on one of your characters, probably your Daenerys or your Khal Drogo. But it also gets rid of things like weapons and like ice or Heartsbane or any of those other really good attachments that your opponent might have in the other houses. So yeah, Viserys has his uses. Again, it's kind of hard to grade him because it depends on what your opponent's doing that makes him good or not. Milk of the Poppy is still pretty prevalent, blanking your characters. Getting rid of that is always good, so he definitely has some sway there. The fact that he's only cost 1 is nice. There is another version of Viserys in one of the chapter packs that has a very different ability. He's a bit more fun to play, and we'll talk about him in another video, which I actually prefer to this one, and that kind of downgrades this one a little more too. I think this guy is a 3, maybe 3.5 stars for generous for that Milk of the Poppy cancellation stuff. Nothing too special. I really like the artwork on this card actually. This is I think it's right before one of my favourite scenes, where spoiler alert, something happens to this guy that's not quite so pleasant. Yeah, so not a bad card, but definitely not an auto include in your deck build. That's Viserys Targaryen. And we've got a few more cards here. This one is Braided Warrior. What are we saying here? 2 gold cost character with military icon at 3 strength. It's a Dothraki. No attachments except weapon. Yeah, so straight out of the core box, you don't have a lot of Dothraki options. I showed you the Blood Riders earlier, but there's another card that likes Braided Warrior. It's this one here. This comes in one of the chapter packs later on. Dothraki Outriders, which costs a lot of gold, 8 gold, but it's reduced by 1 for each Dothraki you have. So when you're looking into Dothraki decks, this is a big beast of a card. Pillage is always good. Get rid of other cards off your opponent's deck. The fact that it has no attachments is also means that this can't be blanked. You can really mill your opponent's deck out of it. High strength, 2 icons, and if you're running Dothraki and you've got a lot of cheapy guys like this guy becomes very viable. So the fact that these guys enable things like this and a few other Dothraki synergies make them a little better than you might think by just looking at them. So straight out of the bat, they're right in the middle. They're a 3-star. They're cheap. They've got a bunch of strength. They have that red icon that you probably want if you're doing a lot of Dothraki stuff. And out of the core box, they're a nice kind of chumpy kind of card to get in there, do a bit of damage, use as claim soak, and get out of there. So not a lot to say about these guys. They're pretty straightforward, but as cheapy cheerful chumps go, one of the better ones. Next up is Handmaiden, and Handmaiden likes Daenerys like a lot of the core cards do. There she is. So Handmaiden is a 2 cost, just a regular non-loyal, non-unique character. 1 strength, an intrigue and power icon, an ally and a companion with the action sacrifice Handmaiden to choose and stand a lady character. So there you go, another utility to use Daenerys in a challenge, sacrifice Handmaiden, stand Daenerys again, still participating, gets that -1 in on opponents. Handmaiden's kind of cool because she, like Magister Illyrio, can be used in a banner deck nicely. She's got a lot of utility. There's a lot of ladies like Marjorie Tyrell, Queen of Thorns, Cersei Lannister, the list goes on. So if you are throwing a bunch of Targs into a different house, Handmaiden has a lot of flexibility there. I really like Handmaiden. I mean, she's only got 1 strength, but as far as 1 strength characters go, she has a lot going for her. I like her a lot. I think she's a 4-star. She's cheap. She got options with the 2 icons, and this ability means that even if you have used her in a challenge and you're finished with her, you can stand a different character. Want a lot of ladies with her. The more ladies, the better. But even just for Daenerys, she's worth having, and she's a great core set card. So 4 stars, really, really nice. I like it a lot. Yeah, I think we've only got a couple of characters left. This one is Targaryen Loyalist. 1 cost, power icon, 1 strength, an ally. Martial action, Neo Targaryen Loyalist to reduce the cost of the next Targaryen character you marshal this phase by 1. Yeah, your typical reducey costy, get somebody else in, cheapy economy chump. Every house has them. They're great. Put 3 in your deck, 5 stars. Same with every other house. Really, really good. Just enables you to do more stuff. Really, really nice. Awesome card. The last character for the Targs is Unsullied. This is a non-loyal and non-unique character, 4 cost. Military and power icons and 3 strength. Army trait. No attachments except weapon. And the nice part is While Unsullied is attacking, each defending character gets -1 strength. The Unsullied is another cool combo card with the Targ plot, Blood of the Dragon, reducing extra strength, kill a bunch of chumps. Also works nicely with our card that we keep bringing up here, Daenerys. If your opponent's thinking of defending an attack from the Unsullied with Daenerys Targaryen at the side, it's a -2 onto what they're putting in. It's pretty devastating. It's a real deterrent. Opponents will tend to just not defend challenges when they see that sort of stuff happening, so you're more likely to get unopposed power. Unsullied is really cool. 4 stars, a bit expensive for cost, just for 3 strength, but the -1 ability is pretty nice, and it can't be blanked because of the no attachment except weapon. So yeah, solid card. And that's the last character in the core box. There's a bunch of other cards, a few locations and events. We already did Drogo's Arc, so we're going to jump straight in to the locations with Plaza of Punishment. This is a loyal and unique location, 3 cost. It's got the Astapor trait. Reaction: after you win a power challenge, kneel Plaza of Punishment, choose a character without attachments. Until the end of that phase, that character gets -2 strength and is killed if its strength is 0. So I suppose you're starting to see a bit of a trend here with this reduce opponent's strength. Blood of the Dragon, Plaza of Punishment, Daenerys, the Unsullied, and a card we're going to show you again in a minute, Dracarys. It's all about making your opponent's characters weaker, and this one makes them so weak that when they get to 0, they're killed. 3 cost is a little high, but the effect is pretty worth it. The thing I don't like is the having to win the power challenge. The character that you choose also can't have attachments. So there's 2 downsides to the card. That plus the 3 cost kind of steal a star off of this, even though you can pick and choose and kill characters. So I'm going to say 4 stars on Plaza of Punishment, which may be slightly controversial considering how much play it gets. Plaza of Pride is a different location that I prefer. It's cheaper and has a stand ability on your character. The reason I bring that up is because it's kind of a similar cost and a similar slot space in your deck, so there is competition there. But Plaza of Punishment, if you're going all in with the kill dudes and the burn and all that stuff, it's pretty good. Doesn't really work with Crown of Gold as well. This is a really infamous Targaryen card, so powerful that you can only have 1 in your deck limit of 1. And what this does, and this is not in the core set by the way, this is one from the chapter packs, it gives somebody the king trait, and it gives them -4 strength. It kills them if the strength is 0. So just be aware that if you're thinking of taking down somebody who has a lot of strength, you won't be able to use these 2 together. There's not a lot of cases where somebody's going to have that much strength, but maybe like Gregor Clegane with his 10 strength, you can't combo these together. So just be aware of that when you see these 2 and you get some ideas. That doesn't work. Yeah, so 4 stars for Plaza of Punishment. The cost and the downsides are high, but the bonuses are also high. So yeah, it's a fun card to play. It's it can really annoy people, and that's one of the most fun things to do. The next location is Dothraki Sea. This is a 1 cost unique location, has the Essos trait. Some pretty grass actually, a nice little sunset there. The reaction is after you win a power challenge, sacrifice Dothraki Sea to put a Dothraki character into play from your hand. At the end of the phase, if that card is still in play, return it to your hand. Yeah, so win a power challenge, that's, you know, you got to do that. Get rid of this card forever. You can throw a Dothraki into the game for free. So that means, you know, any Dothraki. It can be any of the Blood Riders I showed you earlier, or it could be this guy, Khal Drogo. And this is a nice little strategy to do here. Have no real presence with the military challenge. Win a power challenge with someone small, or force one through with somebody big, and use this guy to get Drogo in and do a couple of military challenges. Surprise your opponent, kill a bunch of stuff, and then he'll go back to your hand, and this will be gone. But it's one way of clearing the board. And the thing I don't like about this is the winning the power challenge first. If you don't win it, you're kind of leaving yourself open to attack. You're relying on winning that power challenge to get your Dothraki in to win your military challenges, which is what they'll be for, really. So I think this is a 3-star. It's a fun card, gives you some surprise elements to drop in. You can make your opponent really paranoid by just having it out there and going blue challenge, power challenge. But overall, there's a lot of competition for space in your deck, and this one is a little, so it needs a little, like, a lot of stuff needs to happen for it to go well. The fact that you sacrifice it as well means that, you know, you're gonna want, if you're gonna want this consistently, that means you need to draw 3 of them, which is unlikely. So as fun as it is, I can't recommend it too often. It's fun in a fun deck. If you're playing the core game, just the core set, it's pretty fun to play that way. But in the competitive scene, it's not really going to work out for you too well, unless you got a couple of tricks up your sleeves to keep on getting them, which isn't out of the question. So Dothraki C, 3 stars. The next one is Illyrio's Estate. It's a 0-cost location, Pentos trait limited. Marshalling action, kneel Illyrio's Estate to reduce the cost of the next Targaryen card you marshal this phase by 1. Yeah, same as every other house. Kneel, reduce cost of the next thing by 1. It's free. So you drop it in, you reduce the cost of something. Awesome card, 5 stars, put 3 in your deck. Simple as that. On to the events. So we have 3 cards left, and this one, Dracarys, is without a doubt the best of the 3. 1 cost, loyal event. Action, kneel a dragon character or Daenerys Targaryen to choose a participating character. Until the end of phase, that character gets -4 strength and is killed if strength is 0. Yeah, this thing is pretty devastating. 1 cost, you can kill the vast majority of characters on the table. Again, it combos with Blood of the Dragon, which means that a character with 5 strength can be killed straight away. It also combos with Dany herself, which can add an additional -1 to your opponent's characters. Another cool one is to drop a challenge with Unsullied, and then hit with Dracarys, because that can be really annoying if you have a really strong 5 strength opponent character, like Robert Baratheon, for example, when he's got nobody knelt. Yeah, or, you know, there's loads of 5 strength characters. There's kind of a, you can see, when you play a lot of the game, you'll see that, like, difference between 4 strength characters and 5 strength characters, the cost goes up a lot, but the effects go up a lot. And, you know, like Daenerys herself, she's a 5 strength character, she's a beast. And being able to kill those characters just with a couple of extra cards available to you means that this is a really devastating card. The drawback is that you need to have Dragon or Dany herself. You have to kneel them in order to play it. So if you do have Daenerys and no dragons, you'll need to kneel her. You'll lose that -1. But as I showed you earlier, there are ways to stand her afterwards. So Dracarys, target killing is rare in this game, but super powerful. So this is a 5 star, and you still see a lot of this in competitive play. So experiment with that, get a good combo going, and you'll have something really good. Alright, 2 cards to go. Second last one is Fire and Blood. It's a loyal 1 cost event. The challenges action, choose a unique Targaryen character in your dead pile and shuffle it back into your deck. If that character is a hatchling, you may put it into play instead. Okay, a little hint with this card. You probably don't want to do this with a hatchling. Yes, getting a hatchling from the dead pile straight out onto the board is really good if you have Daenerys, but what this is really for is when somebody like Daenerys or Khal Drogo is killed and you can't get them back into play. But if you've got another copy in your hand, you play this, you get this out of your dead pile back into your deck, next round you'll be able to play it again. That's what this is really for. it's a tricky little sneaky move if you have Daenerys out. If you've got a dead, let's say Rhaegal, or a dead Viserion, you can play Fire and Blood to beef her up with stealth, or if she wins the challenge, stand her and use her again. So that's where you would do the hatchling thing. But I think most of the time you're probably going to want to keep one of these. If you've got multiple, fantastic. But if you want to keep one of these for cycling your best stuff out of your dead pile back into your deck so you can use it again. It is loyal, so you can't banner this in, unfortunately. So no zombie Tywins for you. But yeah, it's a good card. It's 4 stars. The hatchling thing is okay. The getting everybody else back is cool. If it got that character back into your hand, it would be full on 5 star, but shuffling into your deck is a 4. And that brings us to the last Targ card from the core set, Waking the Dragon. There's Vizzy again, acting the maggot, causing some trouble probably here. I think that's when he gets angry for being made walk. I think so, yeah. So he's a jerk. And this event is a 0 cost, which is nice. And the action is choose and stand the unique Targaryen character you control. At the end of the phase, if that character is still in play, return it to your hand. Yeah, so you're probably not going to want to use this on somebody like Daenerys. It's going to return it to your hand at the end of the round. Yeah, so you know that's not great. You're going to have to pay 7 gold to get her back out. It's a nice closing card. If it gets you to stand her to do a challenge to get you over 15 power, fantastic. But if not, yeah, not really worth it. It's pretty good for getting some of the lower cost unique dudes stood again. When you're running these Blood Riders later, like Drogo, you know, he's not too bad to get going again. Stuff like that. Otherwise, it's kind of run of the mill, really. Stand a character. There are other ways to do that, really, to be honest. So yeah, not the greatest and most exciting card to end the video with. Kind of a 2-3 star, somewhere in that area, maybe 2 stars. The fact that it's free, yeah, the fact that it's free would probably make it a 3 star, I would say. It has its uses, but again, there is a downside to it. So there we have it, the Targaryen core cards. Pretty good bunch. I think they're one of the strongest bunches of core group cards. I think to pick a few best, obviously we've spoken about her so much it would be weird not to mention Daenerys. She's definitely one of the best cards in the pile. Dracarys also is one of the best ones. One that you'll see a lot when you play today. The other really standout card is Khal Drogo. He's amazing. He just kills everything, especially when he's got his buddies, the Blood Riders, later on. And don't underestimate this Warrior's Braid later on when you get that in the chapter packs. It's pretty good. Any other standout cards? I guess Handmaiden is pretty useful. She's probably the sleeper in this pile. And the other really good one is Unsullied. These are all cards you'll still see quite a lot of in competitive play. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Targaryen are usually on the upper end of the spectrum of competitiveness in competitive play, but the deck types alter quite a lot, which is something that's very interesting about them. So if I'm going to pick a winner, I think it's going to be this guy. He just crushes everyone. He's brilliant. Later on, when you're doing more chapter pack stuff, you'll get a card, Mirri Maz Duur, and we'll talk about her later. But she complements him nicely if you can afford both of them. Really nice stuff going on there with killing, target killing, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's it for House Targaryen. One of the strongest houses. Definitely very competitive in competitive play. Very versatile, tricky, lots of cool events, standing, you know, nice flexible play. Probably the most improved house from first edition to second edition, and yeah, a lot of fun to crush opponents with. So there you go, House Targaryen core cards. I hope you got something useful out of this video. Just like to remind everybody that there's so many cards now and so many combos that I've probably missed a few obvious things. Sometimes I do that on purpose, sometimes I just miss them, to let you guys go find some cool stuff. And do that, go search for cards. There's always new combinations, cool stuff to do, so experiment and have some fun with them. If you liked the video, please share or like it, and so on and so on. Tell people about it, social media, friends, get your group interested in the game, keep playing. That's what we're here for, trying to spread the word. So do that and enjoy. And as the Targaryens would say, fire and blood. See you later.